Night City, a place where you either get manipulated or you yourself manipulate the people around you. It's become this cycle of predatorial misery that pulls the unfortunate to the bottom but the powerful to the top. Ninochka Roska calls this the crab mentality. Imagine a bucket of freshly caught crabs, an instinct that dictates these creatures to escape, to reach to the top by stepping on other crabs. You show no remorse. After all, why should you? In Night City, these people would not hesitate to kill an infant child if they had to. What if I tell you that Jackie Wells, a Valentino, V's first actual friend in Night City, the same person who has given him a home for the 6 whole months before the start of the actual game, a person to whom V has shown the most trust, a fan favorite? What if I tell you he is the biggest crab of them all? Fuck, that sounds cheesy.
Get to a clinic now. Let's go out.
Let me explain something to you. My whole life I've spent in this shit around us. Been clearer in my whole fucking life. This is how you want to cruise into the major leagues.
Just think about all the good shit we're gonna have, huh?
I'm sorry.
You don't believe me? Well, that's completely understandable. Before I even begin to convince you, we first must need to know what it means to be a manipulator. A manipulator is someone who controls or influences others in a clever or unscrupulous way. A manipulator lies, projects, gaslights, makes you think you're in charge when in reality it's all part of their grand plan. A manipulator preys on mostly desperate and vulnerable individuals. We've even seen this in game, kids literally getting farmed by some pedophile psycho. The victim is stuck in his toxic lifestyle for months, years, even their entire lives because they haven't had a single clue. We see this happening in real life till this day. Manipulators, big or small, domestic violence, or even that one bully mentally and physically manipulate the people around them for their own gain. Maybe you yourself have experienced this. A coworker weaponizing incompetence, a scam artist trying to acquire free gift cards, or worse, you or someone you know facing actual domestic violence from an insecure partner. I would advise you seek help immediately for yourself or for someone you might suspect. With basic knowledge and this definition, this is where we turn the spotlight on Jackie Wells. And though we've had limited actual interactions with him, we can start to notice patterns of a manipulator. We blatantly witness his tactics, insecurities, and even goals right in front of us. Today we discuss why Jackie Wells might have deserved his demise after all. Now, to fully understand what I'm about to tell you, we need to start from the very beginning. We must take a closer look on how you beat Jackie in the first place. That's right, from the very start, in all 3 life paths, we already see a glimpse of Jackie's true colors. After the transport, Jackie Wells was initially planning to kill Nomad V, and though he didn't admit anything right away, from what we know from Jackie, he would have had 0 problems offing V just because he didn't want to pay up.
Actually, I wasn't gonna pay you at all. Just gonna bust ass and disappear as soon as we crossed over, but you're all right.
Corpo V was Jackie's quote-unquote friend. At Lizzie's bar, despite hearing how desperate his quote-unquote good friend is, they are practically begging, he straight up refuses to help at all. He refuses to die for a corpo, he says. A corpo like V.
This isn't a professional request I can refuse.
But I can. And I
They
am.
have a choice. If I refuse, they take everything.
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty picky about who I let touch my balls. Saburo and his matones, oh, they definitely do not make the
Furthermore,
cut.
despite V obviously getting mugged right in front of him, he doesn't help until the last second. Who knows how this would look? Allowing your choom to die at Lizzie's bar right in front of you, word gets around fast. Perhaps that could have been the only reason he stepped in last minute.
Get the fuck out.
As Street Kid V, you meet Jackie for the first time and he's got iron pointed at your skull. Again, knowing the Valentino, he would have had 0 problems pulling the trigger if V caused any more troubles. From this information alone, we can gather one singular fact. Jackie is a narcissistic asshole who is willing to shoot anybody to get what he wants. And that's only how you meet Jackie. Already we see his true colors. A fool would say he is nothing but a happy-go-lucky man, but when you look a little further, you can see the toll the city has inflicted upon the guy. You might be sitting there saying, okay, what now? This doesn't make him the evil he claimed him to be. Why is this information relevant? Well, a second ago I briefly mentioned the type of people that get preyed upon. People who are isolated, desperate, and vulnerable individuals. Towards the end of the Nomad and Street Kid life paths, you will hear Jackie say the same thing to V.
Just like that? You put a barrel to my skull not so long ago.
Getting one of my good feelings.
But what?
About us. Sense a kind of chemistry, you know? Hey, come on. It's nothing. We got chemistry, you and me. Be a crying shame to waste it, partner.
Hey.
Due to the nature of Corpo V's intro, Jackie having already met Corpo V before the start of the game, things are a little different, but all three life paths paint one same picture. We see the vulnerable and desperate making contact with the narcissistic and manipulative. By the end of the three life path intros, one thing is certain. V is vulnerable and desperate. Nomad V doesn't have a clan to back him up anymore. He's looking for salvation in a city which they know nothing of. You hear V pleading desperately just so he could score a job to get in a city where they don't even have a single clue on how to survive. Street Kid V might have had history in the city, but remember, they've been cut off for years since they lived in Atlanta. V comes back to Night City practically at square one, literally hopeless. And with the case of Corpo V, they literally lost everything. Money, properties, status. V is isolated, a perfect candidate for manipulation. V is vulnerable for predation, and Jackie knows this best. He saw what V was capable of. All of a sudden, he smells the chemistry between a stranger he just met a second ago. So exploitations such as these are very common in cases of domestic abuse, essentially cases called quote-unquote long cons. Like I've also mentioned, we've seen direct examples of this in-game with River's nephew. In fact, the game from the very start literally tells you that this man is a manipulator. We saw how he handled a cop in the bridge after the rescue mission. All of a sudden, the painting gets even more clearer. We see a vulnerable V making contact with a con man like Jackie. And again, this is only how you meet Jackie Wells. What follows? Well, to understand, we first must need to know the motivations of Mr. Wells. What is he trying to accomplish? What value does he see in V? We need to know what fuels the raging bull. You see, Jackie himself is a very desperate individual. Desperate for what, you ask? He is desperate for recognition. He wants to go big time, die rich. All throughout the entirety of the heist mission, we clearly witness Jackie's insecurities blossom. In fact, even before the start of the actual mission, V has the option of calling Jackie out because it seems like he was getting ready to attend a party rather than actually taking the mission seriously.
This is how you want to cruise into the major leagues.
Wouldn't get overly excited. Haven't gotten there. Not yet. We're not on our way to some party, Jack. We're about to pull a major heist at Arasaka.
Let me explain something to you, V. My whole life I've spent in this shit around us. And I ain't going back.
His response to V speaks volumes. He was waiting for this moment his entire life, waiting for the opportunity to hit the major leagues. And though he grew up in the streets of Haywood, he thinks of himself better than all of this shit around him. He says he will never go back, like he's ashamed of his origins, a social poser who thinks he deserves everything. And though he has every right to be ashamed, in fact he probably should be, I am simply pointing this out to highlight how hungry this man is for fame.
Welcome to Konpeki Plaza.
Could bring Misty here one day.
Wouldn't hurt to take a peek inside.
Shit. Looks like some fucking traveling salesman with this case.
Jackie choosing not to enter the hotel bar in fears that people might think of him as some salesman rather than some rich corpo dude further exemplifies how much of a social poser he actually is. Being inside his fancy hotel geeks the hell out of Jackie. He can't help himself but get excited just by being within the corridors of this fancy building. You hear the reverence and fascination from the tone of his voice, already envisioning a date with Misty from the same hotel bar.
Not bad being heir to the Arasaka Empire. Sure as shit better than being the son of Raoul Wells.
He contrasts his own father to that of Saburo Arasaka, pointing out the fact that his pops is a gonk nobody, while Yorinobu's father Saburo is a literal god. Now this might sound like a pretty minor blurt from Jackie, but with the context of what I just mentioned, it sounds more like ugly self-pity. Furthermore, he questions Yorinobu's intentions, on why he would give up his life as a corpo where he had everything only to rebel against his father.
What do you think? Why'd he give it all up?
Who gave what up?
Yorinobu Arasaka. The good life, I mean. Got everything, right? Eddies, education. Your pops can snap his fingers and turn half the fucking planet into a nuclear wasteland. But instead, you're like, nah, fuck it. And what do you go do? Start a fucking gang. Steal dragons or some shit.
Personally, this really paints this picture of envy. Oh, I would have done it better type of vibe. Sprouting out things like we've hit the major leagues, premature celebration like he was dumbfounded the moment they got the gig. And again, this psychoanalysis isn't here to put Jackie down, but to further understand him. To summarize, he fathoms that good life, that recognition. He looks up to these so-called Night City legends and believes it be his birthright to be one. Now we know the motive. But why V? Why go on a 6-month hiatus, a long con if you may, just so you could reach the goals I just mentioned? Well, the answer is actually quite predictable. Nobody knows Jackie better than Jackie himself. We've seen how he handled transactions with Dex. If V hadn't stepped in, they would have had a lower cut. As Dex himself mentions, Jackie doesn't really have, quote unquote, it. He doesn't have actual game. He is nothing more than a brute, and he knows this. That's why he never took the biggest heights of his life seriously. Why he isn't as assertive when cutting deals. When it comes to real big boy talk, again, he doesn't really have it. The very reason why he has never become anything more than a Valentino gang member for the 30 years has been alive. That's right, Jackie is 30 motherfucking years old. And I bring this up not to be some ageist prick, but to prove a point. V is only about 20 years old, which mandates this narrative of exploitation even more. V is much more inexperienced than Jackie, easier to take advantage of. Jackie has known these streets for one more decade than V has. Now you might be asking, if Jackie has more experience, what does he need V for? Sure, he has more experience for he is older, but he doesn't necessarily have the advantages to set him apart. He saw skill sets depending on life path. He saw intuition from a little old sprout like V. And just to provide examples, Street Kid V would have gotten away with a car if he didn't ruin it. Nomad V just outmaneuvered and outgunned a Militech convoy chasing after them. Well, he was practically losing his shit. Corpo V has resources that could benefit him. Shortly after Jackie making contact with V, follow the 6 months of blood, sweat, and tears as he uses V to get into the afterlife. Night City is a place where coincidence or chemistry is but a myth. And it's funny how he's managed to accomplish so much within a span of 6 months together with V compared to the 30 years as a solo. Remember that most of these quote-unquote solos are no Morgan Blackhand nor Johnny Silverhand. This is precisely why Jackie Wells never takes front and center into a live fire, why Jackie Wells always secures the bag, not V, why despite Jackie knowing Victor way longer than V, his implants are somehow quote-unquote outdated. The game tells us that Victor lets his friends such as V obtain the newest implants available for free. Having known Victor longer, it's obvious that Jackie chooses not to get the necessary implants to avoid risking his own life. So V would be the one doing the minor net running, risking getting fried alive.
Why me? Why do I gotta slot it in?
Unlike someone, I haven't run on my tab with Vic. Got last-gen firmware. No
Also, don't you think it's pretty convenient how the one night he needs to borrow V's car, V gets hit by a neurovirus?
Mano, I got this thing. Mind if I borrow your wheels? How about I drive you home, huh?
She's all yours. I'm beat.
How about
as
the
it is.
neurovirus from the last job? Can you check it?
Done and gone while we were putting in your implant.
In the same night, he demonstrated quote-unquote nice Jackie and manipulates a blockade of NCPD not once, but twice.
Back to Haywood now. Kill V. But let me do. Sure about that? Oh yeah. I'll play night Jack.
Limited, though eventful, from our time spent with Jackie, one can rightfully affirm that Jackie Wells deserved what he got.
Just lost T.
Fuck! Fucking major leagues! Happy now, Jackie?
Strip.